This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Friday, May 10th, 2024, and we're so glad you can join us for today's show. In today's episode, I will bring you the latest Iowa Ag News headlines, and then we will hear from Jim Donnelly, Dekalb technical agronomist, to hear about a new breakthrough from Bayer in fighting tar spot.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
Well, we're at the end of another trading day here on Friday, and it is WASDE Friday with the WASDE report for May released today. Curt, what did we see take place in the grains?
Well, we saw an update here Friday, Mark. We held in there quite well. The market saw some bullish or positive news. South America, Argentine corn, 53 million metric tons. They were looking for about 52, so they're slowly lowering that. Last month we were at 55. Brazilian corn, 122. A little less what the trade was looking for, 122.4, 124. So the bottom line is they lowered that corn crop slightly, not down to the projections that some of the analysts are in the Southern Hemisphere. Argentine beans, 50 million metric tons, left those rascals alone. Brazilian beans, 155 versus 154 versus 155. So that's still quite high number to look at. We'll have Kona next week on Tuesday. So I imagine they'll keep that spread difference between the analysts in the Southern Hemisphere versus our government up here. New crop for the South American production is going to be higher than that, but we're a ways from wanting to visit about that. Exciting news is old crop corn carryout, 2,022 million bushels. That's about 80 million bushels less than what the trade was looking for. It's about 100 million bushels less than the April estimates. On the corn, the new crop, 24-25 crop production number, came in, and the bottom line there is 2,102, 2,102 million bushels, and that's about 180 million bushels below what they were looking for on old crop corn carryout. So those numbers were positive. Corn futures was able to come back, and we're now challenging the highs we made this week. Soybeans, not a whole lot of excitement there. They left the old crop bean ending stocks, 340 million bushels. That was equal to last month. The new crop bean ending stocks, 445 million bushels. They were looking for about 430. So it's about 10, 15 million bushels higher than what the trade was looking for. And so that's kind of a thorn in the side for new crop beans for the most part. So positive corn, neutral, a little negative on beans. Now, when we look at the big picture, you add all this up, the world supply demand balance sheet, they lowered old crop corn world stocks by about 5 million metric tons. Wheat ending stocks down about 2.5 million metric tons on beans. And on the wheat, down about 500,000 metric tons. This is for the old crop. On this new crop carryout, world stocks are a little lower. Corn down about 4.5 million metric tons. But the beans are up about 8 million metric tons on this new crop coming on. But, we've got a long ways to go on that. So the bottom line is basically seeing the old crop corn and new crop corn supportive. Old beans are supportive. New beans could probably struggle off these numbers. As far as these numbers we just went through, you can go to agmarket.net, click on Intel. They'll have a recap of all this and some ideas to look at. On the weekly scale, great week. We were able to trade higher and keep those higher gains. Corn was up 9.5 9.75 cents on the week. The soybeans 4 to 9 cents higher, and the wheat market was up 4 cents on the week. So we were able to keep these gains. This week's lows, if you look at the chart, is going to be key support to stay above. So keep an eye on that. Also, too, the trade seems to be watching these moving averages quite a bit. So keep an eye on the 10, 20, 100-day, 200-day moving averages. Those are some pretty big conversational pieces that the technicians are starting to follow fairly closely, Mark.
Well, on a WASDE report day, Curt, we know that cattle and hogs kind of take a little bit of a back seat, but we didn't forget about them. What did we see with the protein sector today?
They hung in there. Cattle's been moving sideways in through here. The bird flu news kind of has taken a back seat, so we'll continue to monitor that. The cattle finished down, front end down 52 cents on the week. The hogs down 57 cents, so not too bad. Hogs were quite choppy this week. We had a reversal up, reversal down, so they've been quite active. Exports on hogs was a little skinny there yesterday, so we need to pick up the exports, and of course cookout features coming on. One thing we're seeing a big divergence or difference between the pork lean index versus like the June futures. There's about $7 difference there, so we should narrow that up. Overall, though, those loins are starting to creep up on us. Loins is the pork chop part of the hog. They're $1.02 at the wholesale level. Hams are 82. And the bellies, the bacon part of the hogs, is about $1.17. So if you're wanting to have a cookout later on, you might want to capture something on sale here and put in the freezer until you're ready to cook it up.
Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net, our guest here on Friday. Thanks, Curt, for joining us. What's the best way for our viewers to get in touch for more marketing information?
1-800-779-1515. We go to agmarket.net, click on Intel, and you can hear those numbers a little slower and study them, and they'll have a recap this afternoon.
Lots of great resources from the team at agmarket.net. Curt, thanks so much for the time, and have a great weekend.
You bet. Take care.
Thank you to Curt Kimmel of agmarket.net for our closing market summary, helping to get through those numbers from the WASDE report. Let's turn now to the closing numbers, which can be found under the Markets tab of our website at iowaagnet.com.
July corn up 13 1/4 at 469 3/4. July soybeans up 10 1/2 at 12.19 even. July soybean meal down 1 even at 371.90. July soybean oil up $1.80 at 44.44. Chicago wheat up 26 even at 663 1/2. Minneapolis wheat up 16 1/4 at 720 even. Kansas City hard red wheat up 21 1/2 at 673 1/4. And July oats closes up 9 even at 410 3/4. On the Merc, June live cattle up 20 cents at 176.15. May feeder cattle up 15 cents at 238.80. June lean hogs up 65 cents at 98.37. June pork cutout unchanged at 104.90. And Class 3 milk down a penny at 18.63.
That brings us to the close of our ag market coverage for today. It is time now to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soybean Checkoff. And up next, it is the latest Iowa Ag News headlines.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
It is time now for our Iowa Ag News headlines. The average age of U.S. farmers remains a concerning topic. FarmDoc Daily says the 2022 Census of Agriculture confirms that U.S. farmers continue getting older. However, America's farmers are also becoming younger relative to the overall U.S. population. Farmers have become slightly younger over the last 60 years. Since 1960, farmers' ages have increased 7.6 years, while the median age of the U.S. population has increased 8.8 years. The average age of the U.S. farmer is 58.1 years as of the 2022 census. The share of farmers between 45 and 64 was lower in 2022 versus 2017 in the Census of Ag. In contrast, the shares of people less than 45 and over 65 increased from 19 to 22% and from 34 to 39%, respectively. In the 2022 census, 85% of farmers older than 65 reported being involved in day-to-day farming decisions. The National Pork Producers Council hosts the 2024 World Pork Expo June 5th and 6th at the Iowa State Fairgrounds in Des Moines. The NPPC invites those attending to engage with the latest insights across all facets of the pork industry. This year, the event features a new 2-day schedule and the return of the world's largest pork-specific trade show. Other highlights include the return of free educational seminars and the introduction of the Young Pork Associates Issues Meet. In a constantly changing industry like ours, it's very important to stay informed and innovative. This is especially true as we welcome young people eager to make a difference, and the expo is all about improving knowledge for all professionals and supporting young talent in the industry. That was NPPC President Lori Stevermer. The Young Pork Advocates Issues Meet is a speaking event for young people passionate about the future of the pork industry. And also on today's show, I am joined by Jim Donnelly, a Dekalb technical agronomist. Bayer recently made a breakthrough as the Bayer team was able to successfully inoculate tar spot into their test plots. Donnelly says this is a big step towards better understanding and learning about tar spot.
Obviously, it's something that we're pretty excited about. As many of your listeners know, ever since tar spots come around darn near a decade ago, it's continued to expand, and obviously it's been a pretty big deal. The problem is we have pretty good ways of being able to tell how hybrids are responding to, many of the other diseases out there because we have consistent ways to deliver that inoculum. With this one, it's been different. It's been a brand new disease. It's been a little bit more finicky. So there's been a little bit of a learning curve into how we figure out how to get that inoculum out there and how to get disease in our plots. And we've kind of figured that out. So over the last really couple of years, we've been utilizing a proof of concept, and it's been working pretty well.
Now that Bayer has the ability to artificially inoculate tar spot into its test plots, it allows Bayer to test different products in a controlled environment.
At the end of the day, for us, it's about, delivering the best products against that particular disease. And primarily, we're talking about delivering different hybrids, right? So, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're delivering hybrids with pretty good tolerance, as good as we can. Not to say that we won't use it for like evaluating fungicides, et cetera. But it's really about delivering the best products with the best tar spot tolerance. And the only way that we can really do that is put all of those hybrids in a test under disease pressure. And with this one, especially starting off with, the disease really wasn't widespread. So where we had our trials, we were kind of relying on Mother Nature to deliver the environment for us. And unfortunately, she really wasn't doing that. And that's pretty typical. Whenever you want to, try and solve a problem, you put a plot out there and you never have the problem. So unfortunately, that was kind of our deal. So we realized that we really needed a consistent way to deliver that disease into these trials. And, it took us a few iterations, but, finally we've got something that's consistent. So now we can evaluate all of our new products as well as stuff earlier in our genetic pipeline to really help make sure that we're delivering the best products we can for the farmer.
While Bayer continues to work towards the future of better protecting crops from tar spot, Donnelly says that farmers do have tools to fight tar spot in their fields this growing season.
It's kind of hard to beat old-fashioned scouting, right? So, one thing, this will be our 10th season, really, in dealing with tar spot. And one thing that I know is that not every year is a bad year, right? So we'll have our heavy pressure years and we'll have our light years. So, but at the same time, we need to remain vigilant. So it's hard to beat old-fashioned scouting. Make sure we're out there looking. The good news is, we have excellent tools like fungicides to really help manage that in season. So utilize your retailers, your scouts, et cetera, to really help you deal with that disease. But the good news is we have options to help minimize that. And we've certainly learned a lot over the years when it comes to making those recommendations.
Thank you to Jim Donnelly of Dekalb for joining today's show. And that brings us to the end of today's episode. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok. And you can find our video content and previous episodes of AM PM on our YouTube channel. Don't forget as well our free morning, midday, and closing market podcast, which you can find wherever you find your favorite podcast at Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. On behalf of Riley Smith, Dustin Huffman, and Andy Peterson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.